How you all doing? Ralfy here, Ralfy Customs. Time for another vlog. A quick recap on this. I am actually working on this mostly off camera at the moment because I need to get on what I say I need to get on. This is not urgent what I need to get on with. I'm waiting for this. This is a rush job for one of the lads and we're away next weekend, time of filming, and his fucking exhaust balance pipe is a bag of wank. Basically, look, it's got a massive dent in it and it don't fit the fucking collector. So I'm going to make him a new one. I did think about altering this one, but there's too much to it. It needs something coming out here, and this dent's right where it fits because it's too fucking long and it's too small and. So I am awaiting parts on that. In the meantime, we're putting that nice Mr. Nigel's Evo Sportster together, and what a fucking game we've had, to be fair. Where should we start? When it came to me, the motor weren't in the frame. The front end and back end was, no dramas there. But that stud was sheared off badly in the head. Not that you can shear one off goodly. And that one was sheared off flush, that one was. So that took a little while to try and get those out, but I did. I ended up drilling and re-tapping them, because I just could not get the studs out. Welding nuts on and warming it up and all that, nothing, didn't happen, even with a cold water shock. And also, this engine bolt down the bottom here, this plate was still bolted on the engine, although it weren't in the frame. That was fucking seized solid in the engine, so I've had a bit of a merry dance, you know, trying to get things out ready to just put the engine in, and then, of course, having never seen the bike together, we're having to work out the jigsaw puzzle with no picture. And in places, it's looking a bit like a flat pack that someone else has put together and made a couple of boo-boos on. So, yeah, we have welded up under there. There was a couple of slits, like someone had done it with a slit saw or an hacksaw, I should say. So we've gouged them out, welded them up and smoothed them off. And we've fitted a front gusset plate there and a few other bits and bobs. There was something rough down the back here. One of these you can't really see, but there was the remnants of the old frame under there was left not very nicely, so we've done that. We've fitted his side mount. We've had to modify that a little bit because the spindle won't go through the hole. This is classic. This is how it is. The spindle won't fit through the hole in this, so we've had to clean that out with a Dremel. We've also had to put a little flat spot on it, just so it don't protrude. Not a flat spot, we've smoothed the outside down, so it don't protrude past the wheel adjusters. And in hindsight, that needed doing, like, it looks a lot better for it, because it looked a bit hard. We need to make thicker ones of those, because I'll show you on this side. With it all done up, we're a bit off bolt, look. So we need to make some of these a bit wider, and there's room on the spindle for it. The spindle will actually thank us for, what are they, mate? 4 mil longer each side. So that's what we're on with. We're also putting the brackets back on for the front head steader. This needs a plate in there with a couple of holes in. And we're also doing the head steader because it's got a sparkly new head steader wherever I've put it. Yeah, but it don't fit. So there you go, there's a surprise. It's at some stage, not this, I will stress, this is not anything that I've had anything to do with, but at some stage it's looking, either this bracket ain't quite right for the bike, or this has moved, or I don't know. But we're not getting bolts in there, look. I did think maybe loosen the back off and try and move it, but they're on dowels, you know, there's fuck all there. And the plates, it's all tight. It's all put in, they were tightened up, that's where the engine sits. Nothing I can do about that without a deep dive, and I'm certainly not going to fuck about with it for the sake of an head steady. So I might crack the bolts off and see if there's movement, but I'm pretty sure there's not, because we're on dowels at the back there. So yeah, there ain't. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud. I think next on the agenda is going to be offing this and making a new one out of something thicker rather than the box section that it's got now. And that will suffice and look cool doing it. I didn't want to chop this up, not because it's shiny, just because of what it is. I didn't want to worry about the integrity of that. I could cut it and take a bit out and weld it back together, I suppose, but I'm erring towards changing that on the frame.
Don't forget, folks, our Fuck Stock stickers are now available in our Etsy store, link in the description below. Fuck Stock, you know it makes sense.
I've just slobbered a little bit fucking more about this top mount. I put the angle block, the angle finder general on here, and we've set it, it looked at 89 degrees, 89.1, and that's 89.2 on that front sprocket. So we'd have to move the whole engine over by however much that's out, and obviously that's not happening with these mounts. I thought it might be a bit pissed up, and that might be causing it, but there's no way you're having your sprockets out of alignment for the sake of an head steady bracket. So yeah, off with that it is. I will then make one out of something a bit thicker, using this as a template, this half as a template, and get the frame tube de-fucking grimed and tack it in place. Right, so there's that little blighter and a nice bit of 6mm plate, quarter plate. Can't really see it because someone tries to put a fire blanket, here we go, in the way. We're just doing this front one now, down there. Yeah, for this front head steady, front engine mount that had a sheared off stud. Now I'm not sure you're going to get this plate on with the stud in there, to be fair, because it's toyed. And now my front tubes are no more fucking further back than the standard ones are, so we've not got a stud. We might have to get one or make one, or I'm not going to try and get the other fucker out so we can have matching bolts. That would be it's easiest just to make a stud. So yeah, I'll get that tacked on again off camera. I'm sorry that I'm not showing you much, but we're waiting for this job like I've just explained, and as it happens we've had a delivery, but we've not got the adapter, so it's rattling about like a fucking cock in the shirt sleeve. So we can't do that until the adapter comes, so the 60 to whatever it is, 60 to 50 adapter comes. Anyway, I'll get that tacked on off camera, and then I think we're on to the tank mounts, which means dun, 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 we can have a visit to the Harrison. Right, onto the tank. So what we've done is we've found the middle of each of these tabs. Look, give ourselves a centre dot to work to, and then we'll run a pilot hole through, and then we'll take it over to the bike itself and tack it in place. That's what I like to do. Just put a little tack on the rear tab, on this rear one, because it's easiest to get into clean off if you have to cut it a little bit to snap it off. But you usually don't have to, just a little tack, and then you can snap it off and transfer the holes through, if that makes sense. The best way of doing it is to stand that on something solid, which is what I'm not prepared for. So maybe that in my left hand, although I'd normally do it right-handed, but you're watching, so who misses. Add that through. If you don't put the solid in there, then it's flapping about like a fucking dafter. You can stick it on the edge of the bench yourself. I don't know, oh, you can see that, yeah. You can stick it on the edge of the bench. But you're going to end up making a mark in your bench. So if that's something that bothers you, don't do it this way, lads. Don't bother me. It is a workbench, not a fucking ornament. So that's that one. And now, same again here, look. You can get in there, level it up, push against the bench. And that'll hold it about right. Come on. It is hard to bear down on, right, because you're at a bit of a stretch over the tank, especially if you're little like me. And then we can slide it up and whack a clamp on. Look, you could use a Jubilee clip if you didn't have a clamp, or a mate if you got any mates. Ralfy, no mates. I like working solo. Look, you can see me in the reflection. These are a cunt to line up because there's nothing similar. There's nothing the same. They're round, they're not flat, so you can't put an edge, can't put a straight edge across it, can you? Obviously, to do like we did on the mountains. On the mountains. So all you've got is to eyeball it. You can set the steering straight like I have, and then look from the other end, like I just showed you, with trying to line the top of the tank up with these caps, but the filler cap's in the way to get it bob on. And you might be slightly not straight with your steering, but you can squat down and have a look like this. And to me, that looks bob on. Right, with those holes transferred through and the tack cleaned off, polished up, we can come over to the mighty Harrison and we can make ourselves a couple of top hats. They're going to be 16mm diameter for 15mm long, and then 24mm diameter, I think, for 5mm with a 5/16 UNC, because 3/8 is too big and the rest of the bike's not metric. So I don't have machine taps, so I'm going to have to hand tap it, I think, because I don't have machine taps for imperial threads. It's not a lot of something I do. Anyway, let's get a couple of these made and get them holes drilled out. First job, face the bastard up. Most of this is going bye-byes, so it's not got to be necessarily perfect. In fact, you could probably get away without fucking facing it up. Okie dokie. Next job is touch on there and have a measure. I'm pretty sure this is not quite running true. I can see that, but I'm pretty sure this is 25. Just get in here, you won't be able to see. 25, it's inch, 25.4. Okay, so we'll go, X is 25.4, that surprised me. And we want 24, don't we? So we can take that in one go. And we want it down to 20mm plus the parting off tool is 23mm. So there's your blows capped in. I will normally stop now, in fact I will, look. We'll stop now, that's going to be smaller, that's going to be 16mm, and we'll double check that size. Because although it doesn't need to be accurate, we can be. 24.16 I've got. Let's just double check. 24.2. 24.16, so I'll alter that. X is 24.16, send, and fucking dial in that 0.16, which is there. And it'll take a tiny wee cut off that, look, and then it'll carry on down, and we want 23mm or thereabouts. We could go a little bit more, it wouldn't hurt like, so that will be coming up very shortly, all being well. 22, 3, 24. Right, now we need to nibble that down to 16, so we want 8mm off it. We'll take 3mm cuts, well 3mm off, 1.5mm cut, so from 24 to 21, which is there, we'll take that down to 15mm, and so on and so forth. Last cut, we've gone 3, 3, and now we're doing 2 off, so half of that. And we're just coming up to 16, we could 5, make it smaller and then wind it back out, and that'll take out the backlash if you've got any. Top tip there, so here we go. Make it smaller, then wind it back out. That's what that nice Ralfy said off the teller. So with 16mm, we're coming up to 15, which is not super accurate, but there. So that is the shape that we need. Now we'll come in with this dirty big chamfer tool and put a right good one on there. A right good one on there, because that's a bit of weld prep, that end. Not that we're looking at taking all the weld off, but we might have to take some off. And now we've got a brand new oily brusher. They're actually acid brushes for putting flux on stuff. But we've got a brand new one anyway. So we can give that a bit of lube, because that's what separates us from the animals, people. merchandise available in the links below, and we can just take that centre drill into there nicely. We can bring in the tapping size for 5/16, which is next one up from a quarter. Like fucking so. Brand new drill bit. So I'm hoping that it cuts rather nicely, which it is. And we need, what do we need? 24. So let me just have a check that we're all zeroed out. We're not. So I'll just nudge that forward a bit, like that. And now I'll make sure that I've gone in good 24, a little bit more, just for a bit of clearance when we part this off. We're going to tap it from the other end, so I'm just going to drill this through to the depth that I need, and then we'll part it off. Right, so if I've done everything correctly, which I have, we can now touch off on that face, like so, and then come along 8mm. Zeroed the wrong one. Hold on, bear with. Touch off on that face, like so. Zero the other one. That's throwing my settings off for the next piece, isn't it? Never mind. 3mm makes us level with the end, and 8mm gets us a 5mm part to part off. So we're going to go in there. I'm just going to lock my carriage off camera, because you can't see the fuck up. And we're going to add a double lube, and we're going to send it. Like fucking so. So we will be spinning this round in the truck. We're not bothered about catching that edge. We'll do that when we spin it around. And that just fits in there, look. Come on, you bubba. There we go. That is one done, one to go. Righto. So with that spun around and chucked up, we can come in with a shim for a tool, man. Oh, sorry, bumping the camera. I'm reaching around to missus. And hopefully this will make a nice job of putting a nice chamfer on. Let's go a little bit more. There we go. Like fucking so. Righto, now we can do the hand tapping, which we are going, not cheat, but we're going to use the services of a sprung tapping guide that should help us. We don't need the lathe fucking running, and if we put it in long gear, it should behave itself and not spin on us. So we can use this tap guide to make sure that we stay nice and fucking straight while we tap it out, like so. Nothing too exciting to watch. Two back, two forward, sorry. Two back and one forward, sorry, my fucking life. Two forward and one back. Ew, don't forget to go back. And so on and so forth. Righto, that is now like, all the way in. Happy days. It's a bit firm. What? Behave, it's not. It just feels nice. So we'll wind that. It's getting worse, isn't it? I can't help it. It's got that time of day where shit starts, even more shit starts coming out the old munt. So we will have that out, and that is one top out to fit the tank done. We'll do another one off camera, and then we can drill the holes out in the tank and get these tacked in place, and Bob's your fucking answer, isn't it? The job's a fish, halibut. Righto, so it's next morning for me, but next clip for you. We've made them up. I didn't bother filming drilling out with an hole saw the holes there, but they're tacked in place. I'll get the tank mounted on, and then we'll surmise. And there we fucking have it, look. Nice and firmly mounted. Of course, one thing leads to another. And this knobby bracket that we were so keen to preserve fouls the fucking petcock beautifully. What I might do is cut that off and flip it so that the ignition switch sits under here. Before I do that, I'll fit... if I ain't got a fucking petrol tap, sorry. I'll see if I've got a petrol tap that is quarter BSP, I think they are. I don't know what these bungs are either. They need bunging up. I will fit a tap and look at fitting the ignition and see if they do fail. By some miracle, they might miss each other, but I don't think they will. Such is the world of building custom fucking bikes. So, yeah, I think that turned out nicely. I need to grab a thumbnail at some stage, which could be right about here somewhere. And now I need to crack on with the next project for a bit. Right, so moving swiftly along, the tubing's come. Fucking hell, what a game. So the tubing's come for this pipe that I need to make. The one I've got here fits pretty well, but it's dented too short and not big enough that end. And rather than fuck about, I've decided to make it in new. Stainless steel exhaust systems are notoriously difficult to weld up once they've been ran and full of shit. And there's not much left once to chop all the shit out. The dented and unfitting bits, I'll have fuck all left. So I'm on with that. It's got a few issues. Doing the job's not going to be as straightforward as I would like, but I need to crack on with it. Righto, rush job. Needs it for tomorrow, which I don't do. He's not dropped it off today. I've been waiting for bits. This is the problem. This is the link pipe that linked the silencer to the collector, to the 4-into-1 under there. Look, let's move that out of your way. And not only is this too long, so it goes right into fucking about there, like, but it's like a fucking cock in a shirt sleeve, isn't it? So that's bad. And we got a dent, and we got a dent, and we got a cut off tab. So I've elected to fuck that off, get a couple of fucking bends and make my own version. That was my plan. Now, as these things go, of course that don't fucking just fall together, does it? Because this is still way too small for that. So I bought the closest thing I can find, which is the same size there and slightly too big there. Sorry, slightly too big there. It won't go in. Now, knowing my luck, the bit of pipe that actually fits in this is too loose as well, and I don't think that is going to clamp up on it, although it might. So that'll be my first port of call. I'll stick that in there, I'll clamp that up and see if it fucking does it, in which case we're happy days. This, however, makes everything a bit too long. I've not got enough room to get across easily, so we'd trim that off, put that in a little bit and tig it in place, like so. That's going to sit something like that. So we'll do that first. I also know that these bends ain't exactly where I need them to be. They work pretty well, but there's not quite enough of an offset, and the next bends up would have been way too much of an offset. So I'm going to cut some pie cuts on the little bandsaw. And here's how I do it. Look, I have already given myself a mark there, which is 12 degrees, 11 degrees, 22, 44. Just over 11 degrees, so 4 of them gives you 45 degrees. Yeah, and in order to make pairs, we mark the middle of the tube, top and bottom, and we alternate it. That's that one, look. And then we flip it, cut another one, flip it, cut another one, and so on and so forth. We can use the stop to make sure they're all the right length, but I only want about 4, maybe 5, so I'll get half a dozen cut off camera. Righto, over to the lumberjack. I might cross that out and put fucking iron jack to level the ends up. Brand new belt, because we don't want to contaminate the stainless. We can eyeball that they are nice and flat when they're nice and flat. So 240 grit belt, and we're not going to let it skip like that. We're just going to clean them up like that. Right, with them sanded, we come over to a Scotch Brite wheel that is spinning a fuck of a lot faster than it appears to be on camera. Random, innit? Frame rate, darlings, frame rate. And get rid of any fluff, get rid of any burrs on the outside, and then we'll do the same with the little one on the inside. And what I also do, I'll show you, look, is fucking this. Top tip, this is, get yourself a standing disc that you've used, you don't want a brand new one, and you see how it's got a slight radius to it. Well, that you very, very carefully follow the inside, not the outside, so you're running around the inside to clean off any burrs and shit from where you've cut it. That's fucking top tip. And then run the deburring tool, I do. Look. Run the deburring tool round, not crucial, again, because I'm going to Scotch-Brite it. I'm going to find a little Scotch-Brite wheel and just Scotch-Brite the inside of these pie cuts. Before a quick wipe over with pure acetone, we're not making a show pipe here, we just want it to weld easy like, and easiness on this is no gaps in the joints and nice and fucking clean. So they're all deburred and degreased. The final step would be flash them over with a blowtorch, and that will get rid of any fluff that cloth's left behind if you've still left a slight burr, which they're going to have here and there like. So they're ready prep. So now we've got a collection of angles of the dangles that can come over here on there, look, on the pile. We need to see if that will clamp up on this, and then we can go from there. Of course I meant a bit of straight pipe, not that adapter I've just shown you, and the answer is no, you fucking don't. So we're gonna have to look at doing it another way. So here's the solution. Look, we've cut the fucking end off the reducer that was too big to go into the collector. Do keep up, but matches the rest of it. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to clean it up a bit better than I have. I'm going to split it, and then it should go in. It should collapse enough to go in the collector, and weld it in situ. Weld it to that light. That's the plan. So I have used my very best top tip. I've whacked a cable tie around this tube and then followed it round with a pen, because we don't want to cut the cable tie up. You could put a bit of tape as well if you had to, but I followed it around with the pen to give myself a nice straight line, and that's come out pretty well. I'll take it over to the belt sander and just clean it up, and then we should be good to split it and fit it. Right, this is probably going to be the shittest video I've ever put out, and that's saying something. It really is a fucking get on and do job. So what I've done, I've cut that end off, I've split it, I've welded it, and I've cleaned it off so it'll go in the collector, and now I'm just fucking tacking it back into place so that I've got the right size fucking tube coming out to join the other tubes to. Yeah, so there you go. Right, so that's in there quite nicely actually. Running this, mucking this up doesn't quite get us out enough, so I think it's maybe pie cut time. Maybe we're gonna drop a pie cut in there, something like that, and that should give us a bit more kick. I'll have a fiddle about off camera. Righto, that's one pie cut in place. Yeah, we've mocked it up and put the pen lines to line up with the bit that we're joining on, and now we can have something like that, and then fill this fucking void with this other bit. So have a look, see, let's fuck that off out of the way, bend that down, we'll stick that in, which I know I need 2 hands for because it's proper tight fit in there like, and then have a look. Right, with that in, look, moved up a bit, and the second bend shoved up and cut off like, we're not a fucking million miles away. I could twist that a bit, maybe get it pretty lined up. I don't want it hanging down too low for a start off, because it's going to hit the fucking ground, isn't it? So I think I might cable tie that to there. I might do. If I had a third hand, I'd be well away now. But I also think if we drop a pie cut in here, then we're almost a straight bit away. It's somewhere around there like, so maybe a couple of pie cuts, maybe turn that down a bit. You see the difference, look, it's just a slight curve there, so I'm hoping a couple of pie cuts in there will get us about where we need to be. Rightio there. So a couple of pie cuts later, we are about on the fucking money. It's quite hot actually. How hot is it? Fucking hot. We've not had one of them in this video. I think this is going to be a really short fucking video, because I've not filmed me cutting this shit or welding, because I figure that you don't really want to see that. I'm just kind of showing you what I'm up to. So that will, here we go, that'll twist into position nice and join up like that. Lovely jubbly. So what I shall do is give myself a couple of marks. I'll get it a bit better when I've got two hands. Give myself a couple of marks to work to. We're still in there nice. We come out of there with that little pie cut. We've got a couple here, a couple of bends. The job's a fish. Bob's your answer. So that is that, all fucking tacked up and dander. I'm ready for some welding action. I did think about setting the tripod up and making you sit and watch fucking an hour of welding, but nobody's going to want to enjoy that, are they? What I'll do off camera, I know I've said it before in this video, it's not going to be my best work video wise, but I've had to crack on, so I'm keeping you in the loop, showing you what I'm doing. I'll get this welded up. In fact, it's fucking lunchtime. It's 12 o'clock, so I'm going to have some snap and a brew, and then I'll weld this bad boy up. That'll steady me up a bit actually. Give it a quick Scotch-Brite all over and get it fitted and show you. And there we have it, look, in all its glory. Excuse the non-Instagram fucking not bluing of weld. We had to have a clean up with a wire wheel in between goes, and I'm not such a poser that I've ran back round it to get any bluing. And like I say, it's a rush job, so I'm not going to polish the pipe up or do fuck all like that. But it proper fits that end. It flows nice. It's gas tight. It looks all right. I think that is fucking that. So there you go. There's a bit of a quick roundup. Sorry that I've not had time to do a deep dive and show you every part of every process, but we'll call this one a bit of a summary, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing and even joining the channel as a member. It really helps me out loads. It just leaves me, as always, to say thanks for watching. Check out all the bump in the description below, and I will catch you on the next one. Big love, everyone. See you soon.